And I don't mean to brag when I say it, but clearing AFO prelims was never a challenge for me. I would just go and sit in the exam and I would do it. So back in 2022, I decided. And when I started looking up, I think I came across Sushil Ragresar first, his videos. And then he joined Exambee around back then. Maybe I'm missing the dates, but he joined Exambee and then I took the Exambee course.
Hello Jaya, very welcome to Exambee and really pleased to meet you. Many congratulations for cracking RBI grade.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So, how are you feeling? A scientist going to a central bank, we are losing a scientist, or the central bank is going to get a great analyst?
I was not yet a scientist. I have not finished my doctorate yet, so I won't use the word scientist as of now. But I am actually very excited to join RBI, of course.
When I got into RBI, so I was doing my PhD like you are doing your PhD. So my professor said to me, we are losing an academician. I think that was somewhere in my mind all the time, though I never thought one day I'm going to quit RBI. He also said that your grade and your pay scale etc. are better than assistant professor. So I don't think you are going to come back ever. What your professor said to you, or maybe somebody in the family, friends, because you are already doing PhD?
My professor was initially reluctant. He did ask me questions like, why are you choosing this?
Yes.
Why suddenly after doing post-graduation, giving SRF exams, qualifying that? He did ask those questions.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he was supportive. He was okay with my decision. In fact, he was the person who checked my answer sheets of written questions I sent him, and he checked it. So of course, it takes some time to get people on board with your decision because you have dedicated so much time to agriculture. But once they are on board, they are supportive.
Okay, very good. Good to see. So, how are you feeling? So, is this preparation only because you thought you will get job faster by appearing in this exam, or you really felt that you can do a better justice to your career being in RBI rather than being a scientist or being a professor?
I think it's not just one reason. Lot of thinking goes into one's decision making when one takes a step like this. I thought that as I get older, my chances of giving government exams become slim. They won't allow me because of age barriers. So I thought that I should give myself this opportunity, and that is one reason. Plus, at the time when I took decision, my PhD experiments were not going very well, and I had decided a long back ago that I wanted to do something other than this. I wanted to have something in my kitty, as you would say.
But you have a very good score, and your subjects in agriculture also are very core science subject: pathology, virology, and then advanced virology. So,
yes, sir.
Are you finding any connection between this and the study you have to do for RBI preparation of economics, finance, management?
No, sir. No connection at all. Nothing.
So I'm coming to the preparation then. So because you made up your mind, then what do you do for preparation? Start from the scratch, whether you thought of doing UPSC. I don't know whether you have been appearing in UPSC also. So what are the thought process? What are the exams you selected and how did it start?
Actually, sir, I never gave any job-oriented exam until 2022. I did my UG, then I did my PG. I gave only agriculture-oriented exam before that. I have never prepared for UPSC. I have given agriculture field officer exam twice or thrice, but I could not qualify that. Okay. So I don't have a lot of background coming into preparation, I'll say. And I did give 2 attempts of RBI. And on my first attempt, I was doing my research. So it was very hectic for me because research is also a full-time thing. You have to do your research, come back, read research papers, write review of literature. So in my first preparation, I knew that I'm not going to qualify mains. I knew I'm just going to clear prelims. I'm just going to write the mains to get an idea. Only during my second preparation was I really prepared. I gave gave my full attempt, and luckily I did it.
No, you have done very, very well. Actually, your score is also very, very good. But coming little detail to this. So you said that you started preparation of AFO and you appeared in AFO. So you got the experience of writing the phase 1 exam. And first time you didn't clear phase 1 of RBI, second time you made it.
Yes, sir.
So what happened in phase 1 first time? You could not clear the sectional cutoff or the overall cutoff or both?
I don't know. I cleared, during my first attempt, I cleared phase 1. By a good margin, actually.
Okay, very good.
But yeah. And I gave mains, and going into mains, I had not read management at all. Zero. And in that year, I did prepare for NABARD as well. So I had some understanding of ESI and I had read schemes. But management and finance were very unprepared. So I just went and gave the exam for the sake of giving the exam, getting an idea. That is it. And maths, reasoning and English also, I did not put a lot of work into it. Because I have read maths up until 12th. My concepts are clear. Even for reasoning, my concepts are very clear. The trouble for me was only speed. I did not have to learn things. I had to manage speed. So I only practiced and English was fine for me. The only thing that I did during my first attempt was read GK and that is it.
Okay. So coming to this preparation, because now you have gone into little deeper discussion on this, because phase 1 is most difficult for most of the people. So can you start from starting your AFO preparation? How you thought of starting for AFO and then how you switched to RBI Grade B preparation, because you are a full course student of iExamB. So when you came to know about iExamB, how it helped you in deciding your plan, your strategy, and then of course coming detail to the preparation for every section and phase 1 and phase 2.
I'll start with how I came to know about RBI, then I'll come to how I came to know about iExamB. So, of course, AFO was not my primary target. And I don't mean to brag when I say it, but clearing AFO prelims was never a challenge for me. I would just go and sit in the exam and I would do it. So, my maths and reasoning were always at that level where I could do it. It was not a challenge for me. So, AFO I used to give, but I could not qualify mains because my general agriculture is weak, which happens when you are into advanced courses. You forget basic what you have learned in graduation, which kind of happens. So, I was finding it difficult to clear mains. Around that time, I came to know through my through AFO preparation only, reading about banks and everything, that there is an organization called Reserve Bank of India. Plus, people around me were preparing for NABARD as well. So, you come to know about organizations. And then I looked into it and I thought that I like it. Like, this is a good organization. I would like to work in an organization like that. And it seemed like a very balanced thing. And so I thought, okay, fine, before I turn 30, I should give myself this opportunity where I prepare for exams, where I give exams. So back in 2022, I decided. And when I started looking up, I think I came across Sushil Ragresar first, his videos. And then he joined iExamB around back then. Maybe I'm missing the dates, but he joined iExamB and then I took the iExamB course that year. But I could not prepare much. 2022, I didn't even attempt the exam.
So that was, if I am calling it correctly, that was in 2021.
Yeah.
So almost 4 years.
Yes. So it has been going on in my mind, but I've been busy with. I took admission in PhD in 2021 as well. So I had my SARF exams and I had other coursework. Again, then I had NET exams in 2021 as well as 2022. I never got into it. It's just, lurking in the back of my head. That's how it was. So I came to know about iExamB through Sushil Ragresar. He joined and then I took the course in 2022 first time. Did not prepare much. Didn't even attempt the exam. Then again in second year, since I had taken iExamB, next year I took some other course. Then again in third year when I attempted, I took iExamB again.
Interesting. Okay. Very interesting. So, in this preparation, so AFO was not your target, but RBI grade was definitely a target. have you ever also appeared in NABARD or maybe SEBI or SIDBI or other exams?
I have appeared in NABARD also both years. Both years I cleared prelims. Both years I gave mains. Both years I could not qualify mains.
Okay. So I'm sure when you join RBI, people will ask you, why not NABARD? Why RBI? This was the question asked to me many number of times because being an agri grad. But I had also the same answer. I never cleared NABARD, so I have no option. Even if I have an option, I will go for RBI. That is the fact of the matter.
Yes.
That is different.
Yes.
That is correct. So second time also you said that you purchased this course, but purchasing course is a small part of the journey because ultimately thousands of students purchase course. The main thing is how you utilize it. And in your case, because you were also doing PhD, so how was it happening? What is the balance of then phase 1 preparation, phase 2 preparation? All the subjects are new to you. Economics, finance and general awareness. You are not an UPSC aspirant. So how you were mixing? What was your timetable? How you learned from your mistake? How much contribution from the mock test?
Okay, so I'll start from the start. As I told you, from phase 1 I'll start. So because there is so much, I have to organize it into small boxes.
Yes.
So that I can tell you. So first I will start from prelims. So for maths, reasoning, and for English I did nothing. I thought that I can manage English. But for anyone who wants to improve their English, this is what I did to improve my English. I just switched my entertainment source. So if you're watching any language shows, you just switch it to English. Listening always helps.
Yes.
So just for a while, you switch your sources to English, give it half an hour for 3-4 months, and you'll see the difference. Nothing more has to be done, in my opinion. And then for maths and reasoning, as I told you, my concepts were always clear. For me, the trouble was speed. So when I used to get bored, only then I'll pick maths and reasoning. Like I have remembered and memorized too much, and I just cannot anymore. And I'm feeling full. Then I'll start doing maths and reasoning. That is all the work that I did. And in maths, I did not do all the chapters. I was very selective because I thought that anyway, I'm not going to get 30. And even if I do get 30, it is not going to make a lot of difference for me. The marks is not getting added. So I selected a few chapters which were very basic, like percentage, ratios, which will help me in data interpretation as well. And some other topics that I did enjoy, like time and work or something. I never did number system. Though people say that it is easy, I did not go for it. I did quadratic equations and some profit loss questions, and that is it. That was my entire preparation of maths. And I'll tell you, this year I attempted 8 questions in phase 1, and I got 8 of them correct, and the cutoff was 7.5.
So you got 8 out of 8?
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect score means 7.5 is the cutoff, 0.5 is the margin you had for quant.
Yeah. Yeah, that is it. That is all the work that I did. And for reasoning also, my strategy was same. What I used to do is, I used to open any YouTube video. There are thousands on YouTube. I used to open any one, and I used to solve with the person that is solving. And I used to correct my method according to the teacher. And I used to keep improving it. And this is when I'm bored. I would never, with a fresh mind, read maths and reasoning. I would dedicate that time to ESI or finance or management, the subjects that are new for me. That is my entire strategy.
So in reasoning also you did selective chapters because reasoning...
No. Reasoning, I don't think reasoning is selective or anything. Reasoning, I just used to do whatever came to my mind. I don't think it's that tough or very... You can do it. I used to focus on puzzles. Sometimes I would do logical questions. Sometimes I would do inequality. I used to like doing philosophy a lot. Anything that is, I did not have a very, I would say, perfect strategy going into it. I just did it because it is prelims. I have to qualify. I have to get into mains. That is it.
How was the score in reasoning?
I don't really remember. Do you want me to see?
No, not a worry. Means it was like much above the margin, like it was in quant?
Not much. I think it would be 5-6 marks above or something around that. Not much. I'm trying
to understand where you scored in overall in phase 1. English. Okay. English, you scored well.
Yeah. I got 27 point something out of 30.
Oh. And you said
Yeah.
that you have not done anything extraordinary for English. Your strategy was to switch to English
No.
channels.
Yeah, that is it. Watch all the shows in English channel. That is it.
But your English is otherwise good, means you used to score very well in English subject during your school days also. Means your grammars, etc.
Yeah.
Very thorough. Because
I have a hobby of yeah.
Hobby of.
My hobby is reading novels. So I have read like I don't know hundreds of novels. So of course I have developed proper grip on English. So I did not do much
Who
about
is
it.
your favorite author? This is a very different question, but still for my interest, I want to know. Favorite English author?
It keeps changing as I'm growing up. It is changing because the things that I like changes. So when I was younger, I used to like mystery and suspense. So I would read Dan Brown a lot. But as I'm growing up, I like Khaled Hosseini, V.S. Naipaul, authors who have more gravity in their writing. These days, I'm more oriented to read non-fiction history books to know about culture and history. So I would say Ramachandra Guha or Arundhati Roy, even though you might not agree with their ideas, but their writing is really good. So it keeps changing as you mature, as you like different things.
Why this is very important to discuss here, because I'm sure this thing has helped you in writing descriptive answers.
Probably.
Yeah, because sometimes there are things which we don't realize because you love reading. So you have more power of expressions. People who are in habit of reading, and especially fictional, so they naturally become creative in their writing because they have more ideas, more vocabulary, and the ability to craft sentences. It comes very naturally because you are investing a lot of your time in reading, and you said to listening also. That is a strategy because to you actually it is looking that the exam is so easy. You are non-finance, non-commerce student, never prepared for UPSC. So many will think the exam is going to be easy, but that's why I'm trying to bring out the point what was in your favor. General awareness. How well you did in phase 1, because that is useful for ESI also.
I would like to point out, sir, this is the only easy part. Other than this, everything was tough.
Easy part was
only math, reasoning. Oh, this is so.
Okay.
Everything else was tough for me. I struggled, and I have invested a lot of time, and probably that's why I cut time from these 3 subjects, because I had to invest more in ESI management and current affairs, because otherwise I would not be able to, because those are new subjects. So that's why I cut time here. Anyway, I would talk about general awareness. I used to invest a lot of time in general awareness. What I used to do is, I used to revise my general awareness. So a news comes and there is a term in it. I would sit and Google that term as well. So it used to take me hours and hours, because when you are reading a subject for the first time, you are reading finance. So what happens is that you are bombarded with new terms and you keep forgetting. Initially, I would forget CRR, SLR, I would forget bank rate, repo rate, everything. It will mix up. So every time it comes in news, I'll revise it again. Every time any new terms comes, I'll revise it again. And I'll tell you, 81 bonds was in news, which came in face to paper of finance. High frequency indicators was in news. NBFC was in news a lot. So when you are revising while reading current affairs, I think it helps you a lot. That was my strategy. So I think every day it took me approximately 4 or 5 hours just to read current affairs. I prepared ESI through current affairs and I revised finance through current affairs. That is what I did. And it was not easy for me because, when I was starting to prepare, I promise you my GK was so bad, I would not be able to name the capital of all the states. So I started from zero. I just made myself a promise, whatever happens, whatever I do in the day, I will watch news 1 hour. I would not skip it. And that is how I started. I built a habit of watching news. And then eventually you get interested in some political affairs or international affairs or something. And that's how I built the process for me. I told you I was since 2022. I think it took me about 6-8 months just to build a habit of reading current affairs, to get interested in politics, to get interested in news. So I think it was a long time for me.
No, it's a long journey because this is important to mention. Any success actually asks a lot of investment in terms of the hard work one has to do. What are your sources here? Because you mentioned about new channels. You mentioned about that you have to read every piece of GA, which is especially important for banking, finance. In fact, the other general awareness things about state capital. So what all you were reading or listening this time?
So, when I was preparing, there was this Sunset TV in YouTube, and they used to give news of half an hour. And when I was getting ready in the morning for the college, I just listened to it in the background. That is what I used to do. And every day some information is there in my head. And then when I come back from the college, I'll sit and watch 1 hour current affairs video. Lot of videos are there on YouTube, people who are giving daily analysis. I think people can have their pick. Because not everything works for everyone. So people can make their pick. I would just choose one, and I would change that depending upon how I have progressed in my GK. Like if they would see something else, but when up, and that is how I started. I think much before anything else. Because to get into the habit of reading, not reading news every day, not into those things, so is just into academics. I think that was the first thing that I did.
Yes, that is must actually, because unless you are aware of the current things you mentioned about high frequency indicators, AT1 bonds.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess there was a network problem.
Yeah, not a problem. So that we will take care later. Yes. So we are discussing about the sources you mentioned about even current affairs, going to the details of topics like AT1 bonds, high frequency indicators. Do you still remember what is AT1 bond?
I think it is additional tier bond 1, and bank were releasing it because there was a secure cash crunch. So they started releasing AT1 bonds to deal with the cash crunch. That is what was in the news, I remember. And there are a lot of terms which I came across which were never written in the static. But I just came across it through news because I would dig into it. I told you I used to spend a lot. That was my sole preparation and revision and everything. I used to do a lot through current affairs.
You have been studying BPDF for
current affairs? Yes. My sources I'll tell you. So, first of all, for phase 1 last year, my first attempt, I used cloud affairs. But this year, I thought that it is inadequate and it's not enough, at least from RBI point of view. Maybe for other exams, it's good. So, I needed to add on to it for RBI. So, I chose BPedia. And other than BPedia, I used to read RBI notifications separately, and I used to watch PIB videos from YouTube, and I would also, if I think that the news is important, then I would read some articles other than what is given. I'll just dig into it. I'll read a little extra in my free time, and I had subscribed to a lot of channels which would give daily analysis of news. So any news which I think is important, I'll watch a few videos on it as well. So I would supplement what I have read according to what I think is important. Maybe not important from exam point of view. I would supplement it and just to build an idea, because of course I'm starting. So there are a lot of confusion, a lot of questions in my head.
So
I would Google a lot.
That is required, very much required. Whatever you do, whatever you study, there will be a lot of new terms. You will have to do self-study. There is no remedy for self-study. There is no alternative for self-study. That you must. How you utilized the Exambee course? Because you have been using it for almost 3 years. Though our course is crisp, but still there is so much of depth required. Videos, notes, and then chapter-wise questions, then full-length mock test. How you have been utilized? Live classes are of course there. So how you have been utilized? What are the benefits you got into the preparation, or what are the things you haven't utilized at all?
Okay, first of all, I'm very self-study kind of person. So I would read myself. I do not rely on videos much. So I think the best part of Exambee course is its management and finance notes. They are very good. They are very crisp, and plus they are divided into a lot of subsections which I really like. So you can have the feeling of, oh, I finished this. So, and they have a enough information, just enough information. It's good. And Wikipedia is also I think they have compiled it, taking all the aspects into consideration. Even though sometimes I feel that some information could be supplemented, but like sometimes there is let's say a report somewhere and they have just written 2 or 5 lines about that report. So I would just go and search it on my own. I came to know through Wikipedia, but I thought that, oh, it's not enough. So I'll just go and do a little Google. There are some websites that I used to frequently visit. Like I would frequently visit this TIS and Investopedia. And I would supplement whatever information I got through Wikipedia, scribble on the side, whatever new things I found. Of course, you cannot rely on just one thing.
Correct.
You have to supplement it.
And then there is revision also automatically happening. If the same topic you have studied 2-3 places, you are revising it.
Yeah. Yes, that is also true.
And one important aspect is the phase 2 answer writing part, because your 2/3 exam is that. Have you done any special preparation, practice for that, get your answer evaluated, or you just went through the exam and based on your study, you wrote the answers?
I now that I look back, I think I should have practiced more. I did less. But I think before my prelims, I did not do much. I maybe wrote sometimes I did not. I was inconsistent. One thing that I did about my writing practice was I did typing practice. I learned touch typing every day for 3 months straight, for half an hour. After coming from library, I would give to learn typing. And my target was I have to learn touch typing so that I can see the screen and write. And I have to get my speed up to 35 words per minute. So that is one thing that I did for writing practice. And every day when I was practicing, I would pick some subject and I would practice it. And getting my answer checked, I would say I gave it to my advisor from post-graduation. And he checked my answers. And other than that, in the last 1 or 2 weeks, I sent some of my answers to Examway as well. They also pointed out some mistakes. So that is all I did. I think I should have done more. It required more, but
you have made it. So all well done.
I made it.
Coming to the interview part, because you come from a very different background, deep science background, doing your PhD. How was the interview interaction? Can you take us through?
So when I was sitting outside and the other person was inside, that is the most difficult part of the interview. Once you're inside, it's not tough. Those half an hour waiting period, that is the toughest. And during that time, I was telling myself, whatever happens, happens. You got this far, it's also an achievement. It's okay if you don't get through. Don't be nervous. It will be fine. And that was the mindset that I went, okay, fine. If it does not happen, it does not happen. I'm fine. I'm a good student. I'll get something. I pumped myself up and then I went inside and I was not at all nervous. I was very confident when I went inside. I was smiling. I talked to them nicely. And I think that the interview panel was also very supportive. They wanted you to answer the questions. If you were not able to answer the question, they gave you a lot of hints as well. They wanted you to get to it. But I also feel that the interview panel has the answers already in their mind and they want you to use the exact same words. So if you do not hit the exact same words, sometimes they cut your marks for it or they do not get satisfied. And a lot of people, when I was preparing for interview, they told me that since you're from agriculture, they won't ask you a lot of technical questions. But they did. They do not spare you. Just because you're from some other stream, they won't spare you. You have to be as prepared as anybody else.
Yeah, because you are coming here for RBI interview. No, you can't say because you are applying for the job of RBI. So you have to understand what is monetary policy, what is banking, what is CRR, SLR or anything about economy in general.
Yes.
55 marks in interview is good. So it means you have done quite good. Means all 50 plus marks are always good in interview. So it means you fared well in the interview. So what kind of questions actually you could answer or how you performed?
I think I was not satisfied with my interview, I'll be very honest. I came out worried. I had not answered 2 or 3 questions I had not answered or I did not answer satisfactorily. They asked a lot of technical questions like what is external benchmark for interest rate, and then they asked me something. At that time only, the interest rate limit for KCC was changed. That they changed it to 1.6 lakhs, so they went into that as well. And they gave me a long answer question that how should India become developed by 2047? And the one question that I could not answer, and I'm still thinking what is the answer of it, was when inflation increases, so when money depreciates, what happens to the balance sheet? And I could not answer that. And I've been thinking about it so much. And I said that we will make more profit, but it was not good enough for them. I just could not hit it. They gave me a lot of clues, but I could not get to the answer. I think the answer is that the size of the balance sheet will increase.
So
that is the only thing that remains.
This is, you are saying the balance sheet of RBI?
Yes. When money depreciates, how is the balance sheet of RBI affected?
So you are right.
That was the question.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. There is a video which I have uploaded on YouTube, I think yesterday, how much money RBI can print. It's a hardly 10 minutes video. If you go through it, I have also talked about the RBI balance sheet. In that, you will understand that very easily. So answer is this only. So when there is more money printed, that is inflation, that is depreciation of rupee, so RBI balance sheet size will increase.
Yeah, at that time, under that pressure, even though I knew it, I did not say it. Because last year also money depreciated. Last year also we made profit. Last year also balance sheet size increased. I could have just repeated that. But at that time I could not remember. So I was, and this was my last question.
Okay.
So I got a little disheartened that I did not do well.
Maybe one question would have fetched you another 5-7 marks because impression sometimes remains.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is helpful because you coming from a very different background, Zoya, and cracking this exam, you have shared all phase 1, phase 2 interview experience. Anything more? Anything during this experience? Because your journey is a very typical journey. About 3 years of serious preparation. This is what it is required for cracking an exam like RBI Grade B.
Yes, sir.
So this is not like something which has happened by chance. So it's a very methodological preparation. Anything you want to add to this for all our users?
So the thing is, I don't think it's extraordinary because I came from agriculture. People keep pointing it. It might be rare, but it's not extraordinary. For anybody who has not read economics, finance and management, I think it is as tough. It takes a lot of work. I have also had to work a lot. I had to revise my subject a lot because it's new. And I had a lot of doubts in my head because we're reading a new subject. So I used to spend so much time in the beginning. One thing that helped me, I will tell you that there is a playlist in YouTube of Murnal Patel sir.
Yes.
It's 5 or 6 years old. But I started from that. And that cleared my concepts very well. I recommend that to everyone. It clears your basic ESI and finance. And I read the Indian economy book also. I remember forget the author, but I have read that.
Maybe
I started by reading books. I started by...
So, because Indian economy books are Ramesh Singh or Datta Sundaram or Mishra Puri?
No. Yes, no. Ramesh Singh's book, I read that. I started just by, just tasting the waters by reading a little GK, reading a little ESI, watching a few videos. That was all I did in the beginning. And once I felt like I could do it, then only I jumped into it. And then I bought courses and then I read the technical terms. It took me a lot of revision. I still forget sometimes because it's not my subject. I still sometimes get confused. And I think the process will go on. I have to keep revising it. I have to keep learning. It is, of course, tough, but I don't think it's tough because I'm from agriculture. It's tough for anyone who does not come from economics background. So, nothing big. Just if somebody works, they can get it, I think.
One more question coming to my mind on this. What is the use of previous year papers? And we have many mock tests. What is the use of all this you could do?
I gave mock test only after prelims. I did not give a lot of mock tests before prelims. So I would say it depends on how somebody approaches their exam. I know people who start with mock test and I know people who would just give it at the end minute. But the collection of questions is very gigantic on Exam B. So sometimes I would get confused as to what to do. But I used to answer questions to revise. If I have read a chapter, I would just go to Exambly and I'll just see the questions and I'll see, do I know it? So revision process I used. And previous year questions, I told you after prelims only I saw previous year questions because I had given exam once before. I had given one means. So I had a basic understanding of what was going to be asked. So I did not go much into it.
Yeah, that is helpful. So I think it answers most of my question as of now. If something will come, we will be happy to answer. I think you will sometime get some time to see the comments, and people may ask to you, especially those who are coming from agriculture education side, they may ask some question. If you get some time, so please try to answer on the comment. Thank you, Jaya. Such a nice discussion. Actually, I am getting revised about my preparation, coming from an agriculture background, a little different. And during our work also, my work also in RBI, it was initially a little different, but later, after a few years, you are like anybody else, because working in any organization, you learn what is required to be done. So I'm sure you will pick up, you will enjoy working with RBI. RBI is a great place to work. I wish you all the best on my behalf and on behalf of iXambi.
Thank you, sir.
Wish you all the best, Jaya. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.